Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is Tyra Omilade, your goddess guru, your sister friend. And y'all know I love helping the women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. And I want to talk to you all today about the sister wound. And this is really just like an initial conversation. I'm making this just with me right here and my handy dandy microphone. Eventually, y'all know I'm going to go live and we're going to have conversations about this. Now, I've been going through a process called sistership circle facilitation. And I've been leading women's circles, been a part of women's circles for a while, and wanted to um, get more of like a system and understand this a little bit more in depth. And so it's, caused me to have to really talk about topics that, well, guess what? Surround women. One of which is the sister wound. And one of the ladies who's going through this with me said that she struggles with the term sister wound because it sounds like it is blaming the victim. Because, of course, we know that something has been off for the millennia for women. And patriarchy, we'll just drill it down to that, has programmed us to the point where a lot of women have experienced experienced disempowerment to the point where we don't mind disempowering other women. I'm just really just saying this in a very simple and basic way just to kind of like set it up. And so she was asking about, well, what is this really about, the sister wound? Maybe just have a discussion about this term or what does it really mean? And so I'm just going to start the conversation here. And I'm talking about this because one of the things that we realize is that part of the solution is we need to do things like have circle. And so circle is the new yoga. I love that term. I heard someone say that. And I personally feel that way. And like I said, I've been a part of, I went to Spelman College. If that ain't a sister circle, I don't know what is. Okay, so the sister wound. What I told her is that the sister wound actually is a very good term because it acknowledges the wounding that women have received as a result of being in a system, in a society, in a culture that has suppressed, oppressed, repressed the divine feminine to the point where people don't even believe that there is a great divine feminine, just like there's a great divine masculine. And so what has ended up happening is, some of us are starting to awaken to, whoa, 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 whoa. You mean to tell me I have experienced these relationships with women that are hurtful because of how we have been programmed to that part of the way we stay disempowered is we just go at one another. We don't support one another. It was not always this way, right? There was a time when, I think people were just people. I'm gonna be 100 with you. Females were just females and males were just males. Folks just got to show up and be who and what they were and are. And then culture and society started creating more definitions. But there was a time when women were in power and we had circles. We trained one another. We helped to cultivate whatever was that sister's strength. We helped to cultivate that thing. And I think men did the same thing. Don't get me wrong, but I'm talking to us. So what I told her was, number one, the sister wound is real. I don't care what anyone says, this thing is real. Number one, I have watched women. I did not have sisters, but I have watched women who had sisters, and they would make me say, I'm okay that I don't have sisters because this thing does not look good here. Okay. This does not look good. It's just I actually remember witnessing there being struggles between my mom and at least one of her sisters for a while. They eventually worked it out, but it just didn't look fun. So that is one version of the sister wound. Literal sisters that, one is jealous that, it's one thinks the other one looks better, or one seems to be the favored, and these kinds of things. Um, and then the other thing is, I was talking about how, um, for me, one of the main sister wounds that I struggle with is when it comes to white women who I do not know, I do not trust not one of them. Now, once I get to know the person, and I'm okay with people wanting to get to know me, and if you begin to show like you have some interest in me and all that, okay, let's get to know one another, and I'm good. Once I know you, I don't think anything like that, right? But I have been, uh, I used to say witch hunted, back in the day. Witch hunted, honey. Even before my spirituality was different here, in Tennessee, just in general. Actually, no, it goes back to Mississippi too, but more so here in Tennessee. I used to think that I have never experienced such venom as I have from white women. Like, I used to be like, I can deal with a white man quicker than I can deal with a white woman. Like, oh my gosh, like, when I think about it, when I really think on it, it's really still in me. I need to work on this. But it's actually it's in me because I use it as a way to protect myself, because I never know when one is going to come for me. It seems like no matter what. I remember, homeschooling in the early days, somebody found out about my spirituality. Maybe I had a link in my bio, I mean, my email, the sig line in my email, and someone clicked on it and found a website where it showed I'm doing readings. And one of my friends who was more open, a white woman actually, who was more open, she was like, "Girl, you got these people all just they just all up in arms." I'm like, "Why?" She said one of them clicked that link and found out you do spiritual readings. They having whole discussions about what they need to do about you. I'm like, really? I got to a point where I was just like, I can't even deal with these homeschoolers down here in Tennessee. I wasn't friends with pretty much anybody. Another example I gave was when I went to Spelman College. Don't know why. School for the black women. We supposed to be for black women. But I remember there were women there who just flat out would just sort of bully me. And to this day, I still don't understand. I even remember feeling like I was being bullied by one of my teachers. Actually, she's sister to a famous person. I was in her class. I won't disparage her because I respect her. But yeah, it was just like I got bullied. Like, I never understood it. To this day, some of my friends don't know this. I don't go back to Spelman's, reunions, because I'm like, I don't wanna see them. It left such a bad taste in my mouth, and it was so confusing and hurtful. I was just like, "I don't wanna see them," and some of them in charge of the graduation stuff too. Mm-mm. Sister wounds, honey, okay? Teaching Zumba. I'm like, "Yeah, how much money we making?" I'm just trying to figure out how much money we making teaching Zumba while we doing all this venomous stuff to one another. Um, like, that was one of the most cutthroat things I ever did. I never been a part of anything so cutthroat as fitness. Zumba, I remember once I started teaching bar, I would have what I would perceive as lunatic women who teach bar. They're gonna come and scope out my class to see how you teaching. Do you teach the kind of bar that I teach? You don't? Okay, your bar sucks. They would come in with these little smug attitudes, but Zumba is where I experienced it the most because that's what I taught for the longest. I had one instructor tell me I was fat. She was jealous of my class. Another one jealous of my class because it was huge. And she would say, "Well, people come to your class because your Zumba is simple. My Zumba is complex." You know, you gotta be, like, all together, like, you gotta be able to keep up with me. You keep up with me, you real good. You go to Tyra's class, you just doing simple steps. Ain't that what Zumba is? Simple? Okay. Anywho, hatred, okay? Another instructor, black woman, she was like the first 2 that I described, the one that called me fat, and the one that was hating on my class saying my steps were simple, white. Then there was a black woman. She wanted a job, and I wasn't moving fast enough, I guess, for her. She told me I was a token black. I'm like, never had one problem with any of the male instructors, black, white, green, or purple. You know how we black folks do it. I ain't have not one problem with the men, but the women's. And then I would even have problems with the women in my class getting crazy about their spots, or I don't know. It was just like divas. And I had to like cultivate. We don't do diva in this class. We support one another, right? So when I tell you the sister wound is something that is real. And the problem is that and I don't have a problem with the word sister wound because it describes a problem that is there. And once we are aware of the problem, then we're able to do something about it. And that's why I think it's important for us to have these discussions about what is the sister wound? How is it showing up in you in your life? You know, where do you know? I struggle with women in this way. You know how there's the women out there that are like, I won't be friends with women. I'm just gonna hang with the men because it's less drama over here. Where is this where is this happening? Where is this showing up? And the thing that's the most important is for you to identify the sister wound in you. So, one of the words I used in the discussion with the other ladies earlier is the word jealousy. It's a word that I would say is how I most is probably the biggest thing that I have dealt with, uh, either coming towards me from someone else or me to someone else. Now, I trained myself a long time ago. I'm gonna leave you alone before I hurt you. I may feel jealous, and I would feel guilty about feeling jealous, but I'm not gonna hurt you. Where other women they might come for you if they get a little jealous of you, but where I internalized it the most. I remember I was about 10 years old, and the moms, I don't know, they just like me. And there was this one mama who would tell her daughter, "You need to be like Tyra." And I would tell my mama, "Why is she doing that?" Because her daughter ended up telling me, like, "I don't like you because my mama thinks I should be like you." I'm like, "What the hell? I didn't tell you that. That was your mama." But I just found many, many girls used to just, I don't know, I just would have so much hatred towards me. And I'm like, you know what? When I shine, that's when I get in trouble. When I come and I do my best, I was a good girl, borderline teacher pet. No, I was teacher's pet, baby. I'm like, all of that is not working for me. And I always still was that, I just toned it down. And I remember at about 10, my little girl, my little 10-year-old Tyra, she was like, "Okay, protection mode in effect. We're gonna be mediocre, baby. We're gonna be mediocre. Because when I don't shine, then I don't have to deal with this." And actually just saying that, it makes me kind of understand why I still haven't lost this weight. Because I need to get myself to that point where I am immune to any of the comments that come for women who are a little bit slimmer, and the women who maybe are frustrated with their weight will take it out on the slimmer women. And I just say we cannot do that. So anywho, I made that decision to protect myself. And so then what ended up happening was I was just living a mediocre life, even though I'm a person of excellence. My mediocrity is still like above average, but it's mediocre for me. It became excruciating. And I was just like, forget it. I'm a shine, baby. I'm a shine like the lioness that I am. I'm going to shine like the sun in the sky, baby. Okay. Because you know what? I can't not do it. It's what I was born to do. I came here to shine, right? I think we all came here to shine in our own way. Not I think. I know we did. But anywho, but it was painful. I really got to a point where I was like, I seriously live a life that's very mediocre. And this is painful for me. And so what I started doing was acknowledging what happened and made a decision that, that was what my little girl did to protect herself, but I'm not going to live that way anymore. And that every woman who is successful is somebody who I look up to because she is showing me what's possible for me. She is showing me the path forward for myself. And I just started turning the story around of how all the successful women, I don't care what the level is. I don't care if someone like there's this lady, we both started off in this one business group together. Two totally different scenarios though. Like I was a mom. She didn't have children. But that's neither here nor there. We were both Zumba instructors. That's how I knew her. We started out in this group together like 10 years after we were Zumba instructors. We started out in this group together. And maybe, yeah, 10 years after we both started teaching Zumba and had met one another, we started out in a business group. And she now has a business that is so huge. I know that she's making over $1 million in her business. She has a team and everything too, don't get me wrong, but she's making a lot of money. She is set. She's buying all kinds of houses and cars, and her husband doesn't have to work, and taking her mom on vacations. Like, and you know what? I could be jealous. I ain't jealous of her. I'm like, mm-mm. Tasha is just showing me what's possible. Her name is Tasha Booth. I'll tell you who she is. Tasha Booth. Every time I see a woman doing well, I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And at this point, it's not even about me. I'm like, you know what? It's just every time a woman ascends in her life, whatever that looks like for her, whatever ascension is for her, the world is a better place. And I just brainwash myself to that. But the other thing too is it has been very helpful for me to go through my initiations. And part of the initiation process for me has been sitting in a circle of women. And then I participate in initiations where I'm helping women, with their initiations. And so we sit in a circle. It's amazing. And we do all this woman's work. We do all this work on ourselves as women. Um, and so, yeah, we're gonna have more discussions about the sister wound and what it means. Let me see here. Did I say anything else? The solution, honestly, is number one, to acknowledge that we all have something in us that needs to be addressed, be it a wound that is in us that we need to just release and let go. And, or, maybe we are the ones that's jealous. Maybe we are the ones that's doing things to undermine other women, right? I do think that we have to have a certain level of appropriate expression of compassion. We have a whole lot of compassion, and we have to have boundaries and draw lines with women who are not yet awakened to the fact that, baby, you operating under a sister wound and you creating a whole bunch of sister wounds out here. You need to stop it, right? It's not going to happen if we don't have these discussions. And we have to have them within the each sect of women, and we are in different ones. So in my mind there's like for Black women, and then i don't know I don't know if it's different for USA women or American women versus European women. I don't really know what the difference is. Or white women around the world who are in different cultures. The white women in the United States, they have something that I don't care what nobody says, some of these other white women don't have. This thing is something. I'm gonna need the white sisters to sit in circle with one another. I'm gonna need y'all to really have some hard discussions on getting this thing all worked out and not going against, the other women. We gotta bring it together. We gotta bring that together. The women who are immigrants, the women who are differently abled, the women whose sexuality maybe is not what people have always thought is a woman's sexuality. It doesn't matter if we're talking about LGBTQIA. We got the vixens out there. It's just straight up women. They came here. They came here to be very, very sexual. I'm not mad at y'all. Y'all need to have some discussions within yourselves, and then we need to have the collective discussions. The older women need to have. We need to sit down and have some discussions. Older women, right? The younger women, and then the younger women with the older women. It's a whole lot of discussions that we need to have that is going to help us to move this process of healing forward. Um, but it really does all start with you looking at what's going on for me. And once you get you all or get yourself on that healing path, get yourself healed up, however you want to look at it, then it's incumbent on each one of us to have these discussions within the collective, the subsets as well as the greater collective. And anytime I'm thinking about it, doesn't matter if it's on screen or in person, I always see a circle. May the circle be unbroken. Thank you all for being here today. And I will see y'all in my next video. All right. Let me know, actually. What are your thoughts? I want to hear from y'all. I want to understand how we're going to carry this discussion forward. So please leave a comment. Let me know, even if you think it's a little bit controversial. There's one sister who will say, all these Black women, we need to stop hating on each other. If it's something like that, drop the comment. I don't care what it is. Drop the comment. Let's just be honest. We're going to be respectable, but we're going to be honest. All right, y'all. Take care. Peace and love.